want to welcome everybody to the, this is the meeting of the Master Plan Review Committee on Wednesday, July the 21st, 2021. We need to call the roll to order. Anybody has any cell phones, just put it on silent, maybe. Ms. Sandra, can you call the roll?
Ms. Kayla, Mr. Jett.
Here.
Ms. Kate. Here. Mr. Gerald.
Yeah.
Ms. Allen. Mr. Derrick.
Here.
Mr. King.
Yeah.
Ms. Julie. Here. Mr. Dixon.
Very good. Thank you so much. Item number 3, old business. We talked about update on master plan, grant funds, and drainage plan. We probably won't talk about that because that kind of passes by. Item B is discussion of zoning. I want to wait until the end. I have some handouts that I got from the ordinance committee meeting the other night on categories on zoning, so we might go over that a little bit, okay? For your information. I went to the Republican women's meeting last week, and Mr. Buddy Mincy Jr., our state representative, gave a very, very good presentation on all the things, the positive things and bills that were passed in the legislature, and he talked on a lot of subjects. And he wanted to come tonight, but he is in veto override session. So hopefully in August can get him here to talk about hopefully the same things he talked about at the Republican women's meeting, which was very, very informative. But he talked at length about the wall in meetings with the Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Sean Wilson, about coming up with a solution on that wall. And he's just adamant that they're gonna do something about that wall. And so he was positive about that. So maybe he'll come and talk to us about that. He gave a presentation on the Juban extension. We had asked him to find some funds to come up with some money to start the engineering on Juban extension, and he was successful. And I give a handout. He was successful in getting $250,000 put up by the House, and Mr. Roger Pope, our state senator, was successful in getting another $250,000 allocated from the Senate for $500,000 for the Juban extension for right-of-way engineering and environmental and design. So we worked on that for many years, and the right-of-way has been basically designed. So I think they're having to update the environmental and some other things. So that should move right along. And I was told that if the parish, that money is available for the parish right now, if they ask for it. So we got $500,000 on June extension by asking for it and by coming up with our 14 road priority list projects, and they paid attention to us. And he alluded to that in the Republican women's presentation, that we asked for that money, and that was one of our #1 projects, and him and Senator Pope ran with it, so I'm just so thankful for him. We talked about last time, Julie and I met with Senator Pope and about money for widening Florida Boulevard from Denham back to Juban. And of course he said we need to ask for federal money. So I guess that's what we need to do, huh? Ask for federal money. And Julie and I and John Wasco met with Paul Sawyer, and he was staff manager for Representative Garrett Graves. Am I right, Julie? that was a very, very good meeting, so he just said when we want to meet with Representative Gray, just call him. So, we're ready to call him, huh? Y'all ready to call him? Get something going with him, get a committee and go in and meet with him.
Do you think we need to initially, just from what you said, funds would be available when the parish asks? Maybe we need to inquire of the parish president's office what the process is going to be, or what their plan is to ask for the money to use for the engineering and the environmental and the design and the right of way. The 500,000.
You talking about human extension?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't follow. Is there a question or?
I'm sorry. My question is, do we need to meet with the parish president's office and find out where we stand now? The money's been allocated, so it's sitting there available, and so just what the plan is going forward.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and we'll ask for a meeting and see what happens. Okay, and hopefully he'll meet with us and we'll discuss that. Okay. So what do y'all think we should do? You think we should, or should we go back? Now, I heard yesterday that the Congress is going to have recess in August, United States Congress. Do y'all know what dates, time period?
I could find out. 190 is a state road though, so why is it because of the FEMA money maybe, for the widening for the comfort flow, or I mean, I think it'd be good to meet with Garrett, but what was if it's a state road, is that just to get him on board?
Florida's federal.
Yes,
Florida is federal?
Yes, that's what's called U.S.
Florida is federal highway.
Oh, it's US 190.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking it was state.
That's why he suggested we go to talk to
Gotcha.
federal
Okay.
legislators to try to get federal money.
Okay.
So that's,
Yeah.
But it's Cuban estate,
That-
isn't it?
It's
Cuban
Cuban state,
road,
yeah.
so that would be the state rather than the parish.
it's Cuban
I always
state,
thought,
yeah.
but it's US Highway 190. I always thought.
Because it was
Cuban
the road
extension
before
is
the
state.
coast.
That's why we went to the state to get some capital outlay
Okay.
money on the state. Probably not federal money there.
Let's see what,
Now, Senator Polk did tell us in our meeting that if we could get the state to start funding Cuban extension, they would finish it. Didn't he say that, Julie?
Who said that?
They would finish it.
Well, now that it has had funds allocated to it and it is a DOTD project, it'll have a DOTD number and it can move forward through the state process. So this is the first time in 15 years or whatever that it has made
Right.
it to this position. So we're now it has some wheels on it. And that's why before we went on to Florida Boulevard or 190, I wanted to finish staying on that and be sure that we, don't spin our wheels and we find out what we're going to do with that money that's been allocated now, and how we can support that process with the parish council and the parish government.
We also talked about a meeting with the other Louisiana state senators and legislators on our road projects. I know that they're in session right now, and they have been in session, but we talked about meeting with Representative Clayton Shake Snyder and Valerie Hodges. We met with Representative Sherman Mack. Bodie White's a senator, isn't he?
Bodie, yes.
Bodie's a senator. We were talking about meeting with, these are state officials. I guess my question to this committee, should we start going back to meet with state legislators or
See if we could,
federal?
probably if we did a meeting and just got as many there, state and federal, together, to talk about, and I think we could probably talk about Juban and 190
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, that's gonna be a difficult thing to do, yeah. I don't know, I found out a long time ago, one-on-one with a group, you know, more than one person, going, sitting down and getting in, you kind of get a lot more done,
Well, we
that
can-
way.
Did we want to do a meeting with it, or, I mean, we can do one-on-one
We
meetings.
just do a committee of 1, 3 maybe.
Okay.
That's how we've been doing it so far, with Julie and I and John Washam and, Kay and I met with, our president last year.
That money's sitting
Um,
They will be on.
We missed that conversation, but we were just
I was
discussing.
trying to get back to that.
Yeah, we were
I had
just.
to ask her a question about.
You back to what?
We were just talking about the drainage money and where we were going as the master plan. And I said, the master plan is the umbrella. And then there are legs that come off of this, or the tent, or, you know, whatever, the tarp. And so these legs that come off of it would be transportation, would be drainage, would be zoning, or
Right.
land use. Whatever the different things, because we have, in the past, Zeb was asking, you know, weren't we talking about drainage and weren't we talking about land use planning and such, so.
Right, I was just curious if we were start focusing our attention on actually like getting the roads done and things like that, rather than the study of, and yeah, I'm all for it. Even Juban Road, you know how bad that is for sure. Everybody that gets off of Juban knows how that is, getting to and fro, you know, around that area in the corridor. So my only question was, are we pursuing, you know, getting the funds to build the roads, or are we just still focused on if this gets done and master planning around that? You know, I thought our committee was more of the planning and zoning and these things that follow that, and doing the research for the drainage and things that affect or would have an effect on the zoning, planning, roads and all those things, and not necessarily being the active arm getting roads built. So that's all I was trying to catch back up.
And I did say,
Because I
Gerald,
just didn't want it to be over, I mean, like double, you know, there's other committees also trying to get roads done and trying to do that, and we're like overstepping each other when we have our, you know, a focus also.
and so the one thing that I did say is that things changed a little bit when the Citizens Drainage Board was created, which I believe that Citizens Drainage Board was created because of the work that we had done as the Master Plan Committee, which meant it needed to go a step further, and now that is this committee, and they're doing a lot of the work on that leg of it. Now, there's not really a transportation committee that's been formed or anything like that. That may come. The parish council may create something like that. But what they have done, as we know, is reaffirmed the list that we asked them to put into their ordinances or a resolution. So they have reaffirmed that list. So they are on board as the parish council with that list. Where we go from there has to do with, again, administration, or, you know, the representatives and the people that give us the money and figure out how to do it. So now you're asking about 190, and Paul Sawyer did say, and that's the thing I think that's key, Gerald, is that there was a pocket of money, and we've talked about this in the past. There's different pockets of money, and some of them we missed. You know, we thought we were applying for some grants and some this and that, and we missed some of those. Again, working with administration and representatives in Congress or at the state level, we can ask for that. Anybody can ask for that. But Paul Sawyer did say those pockets of money, of course, have deadlines, some of which we already missed. But there'll be different things that come up next year and further on. We need to be working on it all the time. We need to always be scheduling that meeting and finding out from them, gathering the information and finding out which pockets of money they see our projects, keep our projects top of mind, and then where do they think they might can find the money. With COVID, with different things, money has bubbled up. With new administrations, money comes that you didn't know about. So we want to just be at the table when when those opportunities arise.
Well, that was my question. Is that where we need to go? Is that where the committee thinks we need to go, is start talking to federal elected officials next? Is that, you had mentioned other things. Originally, of course, the master plan is 3 areas. One is drainage, and the other one is zoning and land use restrictions and land use planning, as Judy likes to say. And transportation. The master plan deals a lot, of many pages on transportation. So that's, we had asked for grants through the parish council to get matching funds of 25% for land use planning and drainage, and we did get that in 2019. December 2019, the parish council did amend the budget at our request, and that money is sitting in the parish coffers. And we got, I think, $67,500 for land use planning and $125,000 match for a $500,000 grant for a parish-wide master drainage plan. So council kind of took the drainage away from us somewhat. And we didn't get the grants we asked for, and we didn't get either one of them to finish what we wanted to do. So the drainage, the Citizens Drainage Committee kind of took over, and they're having meetings here, and I hope on success. And I know that they're trying real hard, you know. And then the zoning issue, the council used, that's my understanding, used our money that we had the council to put up, to use some of that money to hire engineers to come up with zoning categories and maps and so forth. I don't know if 67,000 is enough, it's probably not. But, and they've already started on that, and
So we, as this board, have been effective in those three things moving forward.
we have made an impact. This group has.
Far started.
Really?
Right, exactly.
So, zoning, the council ordinance committee the other night accepted the categories from Mr. Eddie Idell,
That's what I was just
Everett.
about to say.
And they're gonna present it to the council Thursday night, am I right, Ms. Sandy?
It's
It's gonna be introduced.
on the agenda.
And I wanted to save that to the end because
Right.
we'll go over
Right.
a couple of pages. And I've done read it all and studied the first 2 in detail, so let's kind of
Okay.
save that to last, okay?
So the question just was, you know, are we
But,
on track, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing, you know, as a master plan committee?
So what does this committee want to do? Y'all want to start meeting with federal legislators and the request with,
August
Gary
is a
Gray
good month.
first?
They're all out. So the Senate meets the first few days of August, but Congress is out all of August.
they'll
So
be out
means
the
they're-
whole month of August?
But that means they're home, Gerald.
They're home, yeah.
That means
they're not in
they're
session.
local.
They're home, yeah. The whole month of August they'll be home.
Oh.
So if
They're
you
in
want to see
session,
about,
right? They're in session now, though, right?
they're actually, I think right now
I know they're talking about the infrastructure bill
they're
and
talking,
stuff.
yeah.
So, but they'll be out in recess, so.
But they'll be
Yeah.
out all of August. So if
So-
we want to schedule.
So what do we need to contact? I would recommend, a recommendation, we contact Paul Sawyer first.
Yeah.
Do y'all agree with that? And
Yeah.
try to set up something with Garrett Graves and I talked to the representative for Senator Bill Cassidy at the Republican Women's Meeting, and he said just call him.
We got
That
Ryan-
was-
Ryan McNabb.
What was that?
Ryan,
That guy, what's that guy's name?
Ryan McNabb.
Who?
Ryan McNabb.
Ryan McNabb.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian.
Well, that, Brian McNabb worked for Senator Cassidy, right? That ain't the one I'm talking about. The one that was, I guess the ex-parish president of Ascension, he
Yeah.
was at that meeting. But yeah, you're right. So
Tommy
something with
Martin, yeah.
him?
Right, Tom Martinez.
And also, maybe we can set up for something, try to get something set up with Senator Kennedy also for August. Y'all wanna just try to do all three of them?
Get them all at the same time together? And just, you would try to do them all, to get the three of them together?
I
No,
think-
no,
Or
individually.
individually? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I think
Double
it
check.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Y'all okay with that?
I mean,
What about the rest of the state legislators? Y'all wanna wait till September to try to go back to
We
Clay
wait.
Six Snyder and Bodie White and them guys?
I think
Gotta
so.
hit 'em
I
up?
think we find out, because there's so much federal infrastructure money coming in, if we can find out from, you know, Cassidy and Garrett and what's coming, then we can bring it up to the state guys to say, you know,
This
we
is
know
coming
this is
down.
out there.
Sure.
How do we make sure we're applying where we need to apply and?
Well, I tell you, Mr. Paul Sawyer had a handle on all that money, didn't he? He knew in detail and how much money and what programs and what funds, and he rattled it off, so he knows, so.
Yeah.
Well, all right, with y'all's blessing, I'll start on that tomorrow, if I can.
I just want to interject one more time. I do still think you should reach out to the parish president, you know, office, but on that state money that we already have. So it's kind of two different pockets of money, but
Right.
I think we need to be following through with this local.
Well, I had
Parish
mentioned that
president.
to him in a meeting here, that we were gonna do that, and in fact, the last meeting I had with him, I talked about that too, and to
Good.
make sure,
And he said he wanted all.
yeah,
that,
he was all for it.
Right, good.
Go for it, is what he
Right.
said,
Right.
but,
So I would do.
I would like to
all
keep
of
him,
those things.
I would really like to keep him informed
Right,
of, what we're doing and what we're trying to do.
right.
to get
And the
his
council
blessing.
too, of course.
So we would try to set up like a lunch meeting, after 5 meeting, or what do we want to do? I mean, I guess it's whatever is available for them, or what,
That's
I
what
mean,
I would
everybody's
say.
schedules.
It'd probably be different for different ones. Each
Yeah.
one would have a different schedule probably.
I think we just reach out to them and see what they,
See
you know.
what-
And
Right.
again,
Okay.
they may say, you know, I don't have time, or, you know, reach out and see what Layton has available, and then go from there. And, you know, I don't think we all need to be there. I
No.
think if, you know,
Well, I
2 or
always-
3 could be
A
there.
committee of one is not a committee.
Correct.
You need at least 2 or 3, generally speaking, then when you go in to meet with people, you got a committee, if you got at least 3 people. One is not a committee.
Right. Well, just see what you can do, and then reach out to us, and, you know, we'll see what we can do.
Uh, any more
Yeah, we'll
discussion
see.
on that?
Dinner at your house.
Dinner
Take
at
'em
my
to dinner.
house,
We're
let's
good.
do it, let's do it.
What you think, Kay?
I think that's great, yeah. And you do a good
Start
job
with
of
Garrett Graves first,
getting and,
Paul Sawyer.
sure. Yeah, cause,
Y'all agree with that, huh?
Yes.
Anything else y'all wanna talk about? Any old business? No? I wanna pass these out that I got I got it from Eddie Idell, so. It was public knowledge, so. And they will be discussed Thursday night, so just pass them out.
was Eddie at the ordinance meeting Tuesday night? Yes.
Ma'am?
He
Thank
was.
you.
I just wanted to go over a couple of them, so, and I've read them, and I just wanted to kind of talk about the agricultural on the first page, and
This mess.
the next page is R1 residential. And my thoughts on, anyway, most of the parish will probably fall under agricultural, I would imagine, all forestry. I think Crown Zellerback owns most of the land in Livingston Parish, like 60–70%. And I think
Warehouser
Warehouser.
Oh, yeah, they sold out, didn't they?
about 5 times.
What, 50 years ago?
1952 when they come to the parish.
What, 52? I'm behind the times, it's good.
They started dead in the hardwood and said you get.
Warehouse, okay,
Everybody
warehouse are on probably
Yeah.
70% of this parish and other private landowners, and I would imagine most of the area is gonna be agriculture under the zoning maps, but it just says allowed uses with detached single-family dwelling, including mobile/manufactured homes, 2 modular with or without chassis, 3 vegetable and flower gardens, growing of crops, timberland harvesting, livestock, commercial, major, minor utilities, wastewater treatment facilities. The major is major. Item 8 is civic, school, and municipal uses, cemeteries, daycare facilities, convenience stores with or without gas, churches, temples, rectories, parish houses, and synagogues, guest houses, water wells, communication towers, and accessory uses, home occupations, garages, and small business. And I got stuck on small business. What is a small business? Now the second sheet, they talk about C definition. So I don't know what that, would a Dollar General store be classified as small business? I don't know.
No, I don't think.
I guess all that'll be clarified in the end. That's, like Mr. Eddie Idell said, this is a living document. It is surely to change many times, but this is a good start.
How big is accessories to?
Gerald always had problems on the planning commission with small business. This little guy's doing a little thing in his garage over here. He's supposed to concrete his driveway. He's supposed to put an 8-foot fence up and all that. And so this has always been my pet peeve about. We had a lady with a beauty shop that run 2 days a week. She had to concrete her parking area. She had to put an 8-foot fence and all these commercial things. So this is really always a sore spot for
Small
me.
business.
It's a small business. The guy's in his garage doing something. Well, they want him to go ahead and.
I don't know. I don't have. There's no definition.
I mean, that's not our fight right now.
No,
Right,
but it-
right.
I'm just wanting to show
Yes, sir.
you what they've done and only talk about some of the
Yeah.
things that they've talked about, and y'all can read it at your own leisure when they get a chance. And then, of course, recreational uses, public parks, playgrounds, playfields, parkways. Number 2, country club, golf courses, not allowed, landfills, gentlemen's clubs, private adult membership clubs, adult video bookstores, and adult gift shops. And that's a good start. And the next page is residential, rural, single family. And all lots in the development shall be a minimum of 1 acre.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
And
problem.
of course, they go allowed uses is basically the same thing I just went over. And the same issues not allowed, landfills and so forth. It's basically the same. But what jumped out at me was that it's not a whole lot of change in what we have right now, really. And I don't think people should get alarmed at this because you still allow small businesses, and
It's basically just classic.
if this thing comes out at the end, it's like it is, it might change
Yeah.
a lot. I don't
Right,
know.
Right, you're right. At the end, the details are gonna change, but at this point, it's just classifying what's already there. You know, it's basically saying, okay, this is a neighborhood, so this is a residential area. So it's basically
Right.
it's just proposing land use for what the land is actually being used for now.
It's a very good starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Where
And-
did you find recreational?
Huh?
Where is recreation?
It's C,
Recreation?
It's under commercial?
no, it's,
It's
look,
on
it's
C on the
it's
second
C
page.
under
Oh.
agriculture.
It's already under the first
Thank
two.
you.
The
Gotcha.
recreation is under the first two. I think what was excluded from the agriculture and rural, R1 residential is large subdivisions, the big developments that's going on in the parish now will not be allowed
Well,
unless you come and got it rezoned.
What
There's some of the other things in here.
Gerald, they have a new classification. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Like they become, would it be a mixed use? What would it be?
That's what it's
A
basically saying,
subdivision.
like a
if
white
you
line
wanted
would
to
be
bring
large lot
in,
subdivision, so it's
like the
lower
next
than-
sheet is R2, 7 lots.
You can go smaller lots, quarter acre lots.
Sure, on this R2, it's all four lots per acre, that's not your 16,000 square feet for a rural, for a sewer system, know that.
Well, like,
then it goes
R3
to
would be
R3.
garden homes. You couldn't,
Yeah.
I don't think you could bring a garden home into an agricultural area or R1. If you want to bring a garden home complex, you gotta go before the zoning board and get rezoned. So so all the agricultural areas are gonna be, can't do that unless you go and get rezoned. Right now, you do what you want, but you won't be able to do that in the future if this stands. Nor any major industrial,
So,
big commercial.
so what the change would be, if that's correct, Kay's shaking her head, not sure, and this is a big document with lots of, I think, discussion that needs to be had on it and studying of it that needs to be done, and this is the first time I've seen it. But what you're saying, the way you described it, I think would be, the way it is now, they go to planning commission and whatever,
Basically.
approved, and then it, or not, depending on it meeting the ordinance, and then it comes to the council and moves forward. Let's say a garden home. Now, we would have, if something like this is adopted, now then, this would be the criteria when they came to planning commission, or the planning commission, then you all would say, well, now you need to be R3. You know, you would fit in this area, and then, like you said,
Well, R3 garden homes,
If that's
as
the
you further
project.
you go back, you get into mixed use and mobile home parks, and
right.
you get into commercial, industrial, light
But all you're
industrial.
doing is slotting things into, when someone comes, it's agriculture, but when someone wants to do a project, then you come and say, you know, I want to do garden homes, I want to do, I don't know, a dress shop, whatever it is you want to do. And then you say, okay, well, that area, your whatever needs to be R3, garden homes.
Then you have to go before the zoning board and get changed on anything else, industrial, commercial, mobile home parks.
Do we have a zoning board? No.
No,
We
not
will
yet.
have to, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
yet, but
It'll
it's
have to
coming.
be, I mean, it's just too
It's
much.
coming.
Yeah.
I just don't think,
It-
to me, it was an unknown until I saw this, but I've been reading and studying, I'm not so apprehensive. I think it's not gonna be that bad.
I see
Really?
a lot of things in here that's not.
Well, and if
I don't see
you,
this being
just
that
on a
bad.
logical way of looking at it, you say, okay, you know how whenever you have a new project come in and somebody will say, oh my God, our infrastructure can't support that. Our schools can't support it. Our sewer system can't support it. So now you have an opportunity to say, okay, well, our density in this area is too many. So, this type of, would be better in this area because it's a lower density. Or you can say to the developers, this is what we need help with, Would you see that in some of the developments now where they're leaving room for schools or, So it gives you the opportunity to work with the developers and develop your area the way you want it to be developed rather than just haphazardly.
Biggest thing that comes before the planning commission is big subdivisions and coming into an area and people are concerned about drainage more than anything else.
Right.
And if you have an area that's designated agriculture or R1, rural, you can't do that. They'll have to go before the zoning board and get changed. Then people can voice their opinion about it, whether they want it in the neighborhood or not. So that's gonna be left up to the zoning board to change it. New thing. Come to the
Come up to the
podium if you
podium.
don't mind.
When you're talking about this, the zoning board,
There's no audio in here.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
okay, when you're talking about a zoning board, okay, to change definitions of what an area is, are those elected?
I don't know. The zoning board is not established yet.
I know, but will it be elected?
No, sir.
Elected,
Probably
no.
be
Appointed by the council.
Actually,
Okay, so there is
I'm
no
hearing-
way that the people can go to the polls and change.
No,
You
not
can change
the
your
zoning
councilman.
You can, yeah.
You
But-
can
You can
vote on-
change the councilman, but by then it's too late. If you can change the zoning board,
What I
Well-
think is important is that we don't know anything about that at this point.
We don't know.
This is something, obviously the discussion we're having, we are not steering this, or the parish president asked the engineer
Okay,
to
I got
develop these definitions.
Okay.
Now, it's, as I understand it, it is on the parish council's agenda for them to look it over and for them to decide, be it, sometimes they establish boards that are them, that are the elected officials on a board. We have no idea what they're
gonna do.
thinking. Or even if there'll be a zoning board or not. We don't know that. That's all assumption. And really, we're getting ahead of ourselves
Well,
when we
if
say those
the
things.
council moves
Right.
forward with it, you'll have to have a zoning board. So it might be incorporated with the planning commission. Might, I don't know. We, like
Right,
Judy
that's
said,
not
we
our
don't.
decision.
I've just brought this out as discussion so they can look at it and see what's coming down the pike, because that's something that we wanted to do, but we've not been able to do.
Well, and I wanted to make another point because it was brought up that, remember that we also asked for money to hire a master plan revision person to revise our maps. And so with our map, we have a corridor that's been designated that we were working within those parameters. This document, of course, goes outside of those parameters. And that's fine for the council and the president to come up with this verbiage, I think is very great. But as this committee, I think we need to remember that we need to consider that map and where we have already within the master plan, the corridor, and within that corridor, what would we like? So if we want to have input that, all of US 190 ought to be industrial, or it ought to be, residential, or however we want to, the input we might want to have. But that might have been where we originally were starting. What do those land use definitions look like within the master plan corridor maps?
Well, maybe that's what we can get behind and support. But like I say, this is a living document, and it could change. It's just something I wanted to share with you folks. That's
Mr.
all.
Gerald?
yeah.
It's not gospel. It's not adopted. It's just an idea. It's a good start.
Yeah. The only thing that I was interested is the public can hold someone accountable. That's
I think it's a very
where,
important aspect.
where I was coming from. The other, I'm going to leave. I got one question. When this master plan was written up, and I know y'all had a consultant come in and write it up, right?
Correct.
Okay. On an acreage basis, how much property in Livingston Parish would have been dedicated in perpetuity for the growth of food?
We don't know.
For farming, basically.
Yes, ma'am. For
Agriculture, farming.
for food.
I think it's a wonderful, important question.
Because,
We don't
okay,
know.
you got three necessities in life: food, clothing, shelter. Food being number one. Your number one priority for land use ought to be that you have the ability to produce your own food.
I would
And
like-
it's always someplace else in the country we're gonna get that food, or
There's no
someplace in the
sound
world we're
system,
gonna
there's
get that
no
food.
speakers, there's no nothing.
I would appreciate, tell us again your name. I'm not sure I got your name.
My name's Steve Horvath. That's unimportant.
Steve
Horvath.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your input. And I would love for the council, when this document is presented, I think that question should be a part of the conversation.
Right, you can come and ask them.
I think it should be a
Yeah,
part of
we
the
can
conversation
answer
in
that.
this.
That ain't what we're doing, I'm just trying.
Yes,
We-
yeah.
we-
I just was.
There'll be public hearings with the council on this, many, they'll be discussing
That's
it
all I'm
every,
saying. Before it's
probably every
adopted,
2 weeks
there will
until
be many
February.
public hearings for
The
public.
council will,
Yeah.
not us.
I didn't get to come to any of these planning meetings. I got my plate's got too many stuff, it's too much stuff on it.
And for, as far as this committee, the original master plan that was drawn, the original research work that was done was like in 2013.
Yeah, so,
And then right before COVID, they reassembled, I guess, this committee again for us to update. Our job is to try to look at, you know, where the growth is going and what has changed in the last, 8 years or so, and then review that and see where we can, who we can hire to update, to help, to give consultation, and see where the parish has moved, it's changed, where the growth's happening, and to update that economic corridor. It wasn't the whole parish, by the way. It was just an economic corridor through the parish that we were originally tasked with to review. So all those things are great questions, but we don't even have that information.
some of my concern is not for me. I've
No,
lived most of my life. My concern is for the children and the grandchildren.
I appreciate that.
That's the only reason I'm here.
That question is something that's very dear to my heart. I believe 100% that in America, we need to grow our own crops quite often.
Well,
And
it's your first line of defense
that's
on
right,
a
that's
national
right,
level.
that's right. But I will say, to answer your question, in looking through the master plan, they list things like wastewater, transportation, drainage, domestic water, emergency preparation, coastal management, where do we go from here? So those are the things, and so I do not see that broken out specifically. It may come under something here, but I think more than anything else, it's an important thing to bring up if it's not in here. So it can be brought into the conversation.
I will tell you this much. We just hired a coastal planner that's gonna work for the state of Louisiana, and he's gonna be housed in Denham. I just hired him back there. Oh, I don't know if it's been a month yet.
Really?
Yeah. So.
And he's a state employee, the state.
Actually, he's a district employee.
Under what?
The Capital Area Soil and Water Conservation District.
Okay.
Are you part of that organization?
I'm the chairman.
Okay.
I'm also a commission member for the state of Louisiana through the Office of Ag and Forestry and for the Soil and Water Conservation District on the state level. In fact, I just went to a meeting this evening. That was one of the main topics that we talked about, was trying to figure out where all this water's gonna go and stuff that y'all trying to drain.
Yeah, well, we.
Actually, we asked for a drainage survey. One of the very first things we asked about before we updated that survey, that master plan, was before we do that, we need a drainage survey to find out where this water's going anyway before we even get into future economic development. because that's gonna have to play a major impact, especially in light of everything that happened in 2016 and what continues to happen.
Well, here's one is fairly simple. All our major river systems that do Livingston Parish, all going to Lake Maurepas, from Lake Maurepas, Lake Pontchartrain, from there, Lake Bourne, they going in the Gulf.
Our property on Blind River, believe me, I understand, it's right there,
So,
of Maurepas,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
known since I was a kid.
Have you had a chance, or have you worked at all with the city of Walker?
No, ma'am, not on a personal level.
Okay.
Most,
Because when we met with the city of Walker, they showed us a big map, and they actually hired it themselves and have it on the wall in their chamber, that shows basically the whole United States coming through, you know.
Yes,
which,
ma'am.
You know, the drainage is coming, you know, right through all of us. So my point is, they are on top, they are absolutely working on that, and I respected the things that they were saying and what they were looking at and working together. And then I guess you knew about that meeting that all the stakeholders, I don't know if Buddy Mincy had the meeting, who had that meeting?
the one that just occurred,
Yes.
that was actually Garrett Graves that
Garrett
had
had
that
the
meeting,
meeting,
and that
right.
was everybody from the coast
Right.
up to Point Capee Parish and across, I think, to the Mississippi River. All of that area in there is what they discussed. I don't know the details, ma'am, I wasn't there, but one of the gentlemen that was in our meeting today is the state soil and water conservationist for the state of Louisiana. He was there. Y'all, I guess my first foray into helping, really trying to help with the parish was back about, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, when they was trying to pay for a lot of the drainage that they had did, or the getting rid of the debris and stuff, and they didn't have any way to pay for it. Myself and Mr. Linwood Abbott, don't get gray hair, because you can't always remember names. Yeah, I was parish president at that time.
Mike
Before.
Burke.
Yeah, okay, well, we went to see him, and Mr. Linwood Abbott and I did, he was my technician. And we told him that we would pay for most of this if he would come sign the paperwork. Well, about 2 weeks went by, and he never showed up at the office, so I asked Mr. Linwood to go back and see him then. Mr. Linwood did. And of course, the deadline come and went, and he never showed up. But the NRCS, which is the Natural Resource Conservation Service, they are the federal, we are the local. The EWP, which is where this $50 million that y'all got came from to do all of this cleaning out and stuff, that come through NRCS. If you look in the big maps and stuff, you'll see NRCS on it, okay? And that would have been paid for, just like a lot of this is being, well, most of this is being paid for. It's a cost match, and I don't remember now what the match is, 90-10, something like that, I think, and stuff. So we're very interested in trying to get the drainage and stuff done. We were supposed to be one of the entities that was put on this drainage board, but don't feel bad that y'all didn't do it, because out of 63 parishes, no parish did.
Wow.
But we've been doing this since 1935.
Well, thank you for coming. Where do you live in Livingston Parish? Or do you live in Livingston?
Yeah, yes, sir. I was born and raised on a strawberry farm in Springfield.
Strawberry Farm.
And I live south of Springfield about 10 miles. And I'm not tooting my own horn, because I'm just one of 5 board members. We got 2 from East Baton Rouge Parish, because the capital area is East Baton Rouge and Livingston. You've got 3 from Livingston.
And when do you all meet?
We meet, so what is it, the third, it's either the second or third, the third Monday of every month at 4 o'clock.
Where?
Except for this coming month, we're not, because the state conservationist is coming to see us at 10 that morning, so we don't want to be there at 10 and then have to drive all the way back to Denham for 4, so.
So this person that's gonna be in Denham Springs moving forward, where's that location?
Our office is located Okay, where Surf Pro is,
Yes. On
okay?
Florida.
Okay, you know where that high building is?
Yes,
The
there's a-
one that they built up on a
Yes.
mountain?
Post office or something, there's a.
No, it's our office.
It's
It's,
your
it's a
It's a,
NRCS office.
okay, I know where it is.
Y'all
Okay.
used to be back on the other street.
Yeah, it used to be back on the other side. We was at
See,
the
I
end of that road.
remember, I'm on the RC&D board,
Okay.
so you familiar with that resource
I
conservation?
served on an RC&D board for about 15 years.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, what was your name again?
First name is Steve. Last name is Horvath.
How you spell it?
H-O-R-V like in victory, A-T-H. And if there's anything that I can help you do, or any information that I can help you get, I'd be more than glad to do it. I'm like you, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I don't get no paycheck.
I am so appreciative of you coming
But,
today and letting us know you're out
but-
there.
But, we try to help. I mean, we do and stuff. And last year this time, I told you we couldn't help you because I was down to 2 board members. I didn't have a secretary and I didn't have a technician. But right now, the only thing I'm short of, and I'm hoping to get her back, is a secretary and stuff.
Well, I think you're a valuable source, and we're glad to have you in Livingston Parish, and I think we look forward to working with you on some projects.
Good. Thank you so
Brainstorm.
very much for coming to talk to us. We have some other things we need to discuss, so
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Thank
also-
you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Take care. God bless.
Anybody else got anything? We got one more item to talk about, but anybody else wants to talk about anything else? Old business, new business?
The only thing I would like to ask or possibly propose is, especially people like me, I'm running like crazy every day, all day. And if there's a chance that maybe we could get on a group email or something to exchange information that's going on during this time, and it might help,
Ahead of time?
Yeah, that help us even research or have more information before we get here, because I know you're all in, all day long, researching and doing and going, and then we're all, some of us that aren't retired or aren't in this section, we're, running businesses and going and going and going. By the time we get here, it's like, man, the chances I do get are late at night, if I could just read through and go through some things.
I agree with
research,
that,
would
if we
be-
can
that
do
would be
that. I didn't
beneficial.
want to send this out at all, because this is not for dissemination to the public.
Sure, no,
okay?
and I understand that. Things
The
that
other stuff we
wouldn't do.
could have, Miss Sandy, did you hear that request?
I
try to-
created a group for y'all.
We'll
What
try
I'm
to
saying
do
is that
that.
we could exchange information of that.
We'll try to do that
More
when we
information when we get
can.
here. Just saying.
When we can, we'll try to do that,
Yeah.
Deb. When we first started, the last item that I want to talk about is 4B. When we first started the master plan committee, everybody on the committee had elected me chairman. And I don't know if we had a co-chair, do y'all?
We did for a
Who
while.
was the co-chair?
Jude Abram.
Who?
Jude
Jude,
Abram.
oh yeah, Jude, that's right.
He was co-chair for a little while.
I've been the chair since the start, but I would say if you folks would like to have another chairman, nominate somebody else, that's okay with me. And I would be glad to step down and be the best assistant that y'all can have, anybody could have, and the hardest worker in Beauty will tell you that. So if anybody else really would like to step forward and be the chairman, that's okay too.
I think it would have to be someone that has the time and would be dedicated to getting the information and the research and talking to people during the day and doing what you do. I know I personally don't have the time to just jump in right now with running 2 other businesses and trying to keep up and then having 3 more girls at home.
Well, if you want me to, I'll stay on longer and do my very best. I need someone that I can work with and talk to about things. I might not always be here, okay? we do need a co-chair, an active co-chair.
Well, that'd be worth discussing.
Kenny?
I tell them, I'm kinda like you, I've got so many irons in the fire right now.
One more iron don't hurt. You want
Mr. Babcock?
you want to be
That's what the
co-chair?
last guy told me.
I do with you being chair.
I'll be chairman a little longer.
Yeah.
Would you be interested?
I wouldn't mind co-chair with you, sure. If that, I mean, are we need to make appointment or a?
Somebody needs to
motion
nominate me
nominate
and you.
them? Okay. And then,
I'll make the motion that we reinstate you as chairman of the master plan committee.
a little longer.
And then, ask, Derek Babcock to, serve as co-chair.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, the
Public
nays? No nays? All right, well, we'll just do this a little longer. Anybody else got anything? All right,
Real one quick question.
Okay.
Last sort of question, not to extend this any longer, but,
No.
okay, so our original, I guess, scope of work was to get the old master plan and to really focus on economic corridor and update all those things. And I know we wanted to do drainage, which was taken, but we did start trying to find drainage issues and a plan for that so we could update, more effectively the master plan. So are we still we're still in that corridor, correct? That's our focus, is updating this master plan, because I know we have it seems that we've gone off on a few things that are very important, like the juvenile extension or finding money for those things. But it is still our focus, just so we don't, I hate to keep going, chasing one of these and really pushing our time and effort into it to have it just something else taken that's not necessarily in that original scope of work in the master plan.
but I think you're saying too, like if somebody else is doing it too, and it's just,
Right.
and so whatever we say doesn't matter, they're gonna.
Well,
they're
yeah,
gonna
I mean,
take
just
it.
the same thing. I mean, the drainage was very important to our master plan, or to update the master plan, because that was done in 2013. Obviously, that is in 2016. We saw a big change. So, of course, our very first thing was, well, we need to find out about drainage before we even update this. Well, not that that's no longer part of our, scope, but are we still focused on the master plan as far as within that economic corridor? And I know this is maybe with the full parish, but we really need to kind of maybe focus our efforts in between, as they look at the exterior sections of the parish, that we're still focused on that corridor and how these individual definitions affects different areas that we're looking at, if they pass through as they are. No, it's just a question.
All right.
Part of that we could think about before our next.
All right. Y'all don't have anything else?
That's it.
Meeting